Welcome to the eerie world of Navajo mythology, where creatures called Skinwalkers roam the night. Unlike the shapeshifters you've seen in movies, Skinwalkers aren't the friendly, misunderstood type. They're believed to be witches with the power to transform into animals, a skill they didn't exactly get by going to Hogwarts. No. This dark magic is rooted in centuries-old Navajo beliefs and folklore, passed down with enough chills and thrills to keep campfire stories alive for generations. So, buckle up as we delve into the unsettling, mysterious, and downright spooky lore of the real Skinwalkers. But don't worry, you're safe behind the screen, or at least you think you are. A Skinwalker, or Yinalushi, which translates to "with it, he goes on all fours," is the polar opposite of everything Hojo stands for. Imagine someone so creepy and so out of sync with nature that they've learned to shapeshift into animals and use supernatural powers for selfish or downright sinister purposes. According to Navajo beliefs, Skinwalkers are witches who have gone dark side, breaking cultural taboos to gain terrifying abilities. In Navajo culture, there's a big difference between spiritual healers, who help people and use sacred knowledge to keep things in balance, and Skinwalkers, who use their knowledge for personal gain at the expense of others. Skinwalkers are thought to gain their powers by performing acts that go against every cultural value the Navajo hold dear. They disrupt harmony and bring fear and distrust into communities. Picture a kind of anti-hero, except without the hero part. These folks have chosen the path of chaos, leaving the world slightly darker with every move they make. Why Skinwalkers give everyone the creeps? Navajo culture treats Skinwalkers as more than just spooky stories to tell around the campfire. They're seen as dangerous entities that are best left unmentioned. Talking about Skinwalkers, according to Navajo tradition, can attract their attention, and that's attention nobody wants. This cultural taboo around discussing Skinwalkers stems from the Navajo belief in the power of words and thoughts to influence reality. In other words, they might show up if you talk about them. If Hojo is the ideal state of balance, Skinwalkers embody imbalance. They're like a virus in the system, disturbing everything Hojo tries to maintain. Their powers are seen as corrupt, and their actions disrupt the social and spiritual balance that the Navajo believe in. While healers work to keep the world aligned, Skinwalkers operate on the fringes, bringing an unsettling presence that no one wants to get near. Characteristics and abilities of Skinwalkers. The main trait that sets Skinwalkers apart is their power to transform into various animals. Picture a coyote or an owl prowling around at night. Now imagine if that owl or coyote had once been a person. That's essentially the heart of the Skinwalker lore. Individuals who have gained the power to take on animal form, usually by wearing the skin or parts of the animal they wish to become. This act of wearing animal skins is thought to give them access to the abilities and senses of that creature: speed, night vision, agility, stealth, making them formidable and terrifying. However, the transformation is not just a fun party trick. It's often linked to dark intentions. Unlike superheroes who use their powers for good, Skinwalkers are commonly believed to use their shape-shifting ability to stalk, harass, or even harm people. According to legend, they might turn into a bird to spy on someone's private life, or become a wolf to prowl around a homestead, stirring up fear. While they are known to take the form of animals, some legends even suggest that Skinwalkers can manipulate their human forms, causing their faces or limbs to shift in unsettling ways. One of the creepiest characteristics of a Skinwalker is its ability to mimic human voices. Imagine hearing someone call your name from the woods, but when you turn around, there's no one there. Or worse, you hear a loved one's voice crying out for help, only to find that it's a trick. Skinwalkers are said to be able to imitate the voices of anyone they've ever heard, whether it's a family member, a friend, or even a stranger. This mimicry is one of the Skinwalkers' most sinister traits because it preys on human emotions. They lure their victims into dangerous situations by pretending to be someone they trust, like a parent or sibling. The Skinwalker knows that humans are hardwired to respond to the sound of a familiar voice, and they use this to their advantage. It's like a cruel game of hide and seek, where the Skinwalker is the one hiding, but the human is the one who's being hunted. In some stories, Skinwalkers will even go so far as to impersonate a person's voice to confuse and frighten them. Imagine being out in the middle of nowhere and hearing someone yell your name in distress, only to realize the voice is not coming from your expected direction. It's enough to make anyone's hair stand on end. If they're good enough at it, a Skinwalker can drive a person mad with paranoia and fear, never knowing whether what they hear is real or a trick. Another chilling ability of Skinwalkers is their supposed power to read minds. Picture a scenario where a Skinwalker is watching you from a distance, and you feel like someone is looking right at you. But it's worse than being watched. They're inside your head. They can hear your thoughts, know your fears, and understand your deepest desires. It's like having an invisible predator who can know your next move before you make it. This mind-reading power is often portrayed as an extension of their dark magic, as it allows them to anticipate and manipulate their prey. In many Skinwalker legends, victims report feeling like the creature is one step ahead, knowing their every action before they take it. This supernatural insight makes them even more formidable because they can predict and exploit a person's weaknesses. Some stories even go so far as to say that Skinwalkers can cause harm simply by knowing their victim's thoughts. If a Skinwalker is aware of someone's fears or insecurities, they can use that knowledge to mentally torment them, causing psychological damage. In some accounts, the Skinwalker might even curse the person, using their dark powers to inflict illness, misfortune, or death. In Navajo culture, Skinwalkers are not just creepy creatures lurking in the dark. They're viewed as witches, a label that carries a heavy weight in the Navajo worldview. To understand why Skinwalkers are so feared, it's essential to grasp the Navajo perspective on witchcraft, which is quite different from pop culture portrayals of spell casting. Within the Navajo culture, spiritual practices generally fall into two categories: those meant to heal and bring harmony, good medicine, and those meant to harm or disrupt, witchcraft. Traditional healers, often called medicine men or women, are highly respected figures in Navajo communities. They use their spiritual knowledge to help others, whether through herbal remedies, rituals, or prayers. They aim to maintain harmony, keeping life balanced with nature, people, and spirits. But then, there's the other side of the coin: those who practice witchcraft for personal gain, power, or revenge. These are the individuals who, according to Navajo belief, misuse spiritual power to hurt others. Skinwalkers fall into this darker category. To become a Skinwalker, one must allegedly undergo rituals that involve breaking cultural taboos, often committing unthinkable acts. This isn't something taken lightly in Navajo communities. It's a betrayal of values and an abuse of spiritual power, making Skinwalkers deeply feared and shunned. While the traditional medicine person and the Skinwalker might both have access to spiritual knowledge, their use of it sets them worlds apart. Medicine people are protectors of the community. dedicated to using their gifts to help others, soothe illnesses, and bring balance. Skinwalkers, on the other hand, are seen as selfish, using their powers for malevolent purposes. They embody what happens when spiritual power is taken too far and twisted for personal gain. Navajo culture is steeped in the idea of balance and harmony with the world around you. So, the concept of a skinwalker, a person who has chosen to disrupt this balance by embracing darkness, is a powerful symbol of fear and betrayal. To many Navajo people, even speaking about skinwalkers is taboo, a topic avoided because it represents everything that can go wrong when someone loses their way spiritually. If you ever find yourself in the Southwest and see a coyote that seems too interested in your business, you might wonder if there's more to it than meets the eye. But before you accuse every owl or fox of being a skinwalker, remember that most animals are exactly what they appear to be: innocent wildlife with no nefarious plans. Navajo culture doesn't teach that all animals are suspicious. It just warns that some beings can choose to use their powers to harm. Common signs that a skinwalker might be near. In Navajo tradition, the presence of a skinwalker is often marked by subtle disturbances in the environment. These signs are not always as obvious as seeing a shape-shifting monster stalking the night. Instead, they are often small, unsettling details that seem out of place, making you second-guess what you thought you saw or heard. After all, skinwalkers are believed to be masters of deception, able to disguise their true form and make their presence known in ways that leave you questioning reality. One of the most common signs that a skinwalker might be near is the appearance of an animal that seems out of place or unusually bold. Skinwalkers are said to have the ability to transform into various animals, such as coyotes, wolves, bears, or even birds. However, these shape-shifting beings could be more graceful in their transformations. Often, a skinwalker's animal form will seem off, slightly too large, with unsettling eyes that don't quite look natural. This creates an aura of discomfort, as if the animal is somehow watching you, studying you. For example, a common tale involves someone seeing a coyote on the side of the road. At first, it seems like an ordinary coyote, but the animal stands unnaturally still as the person gets closer, staring directly at them. Glowing in the moonlight, the eyes may seem too intelligent or human. Sometimes, the creature may even exhibit behavior that doesn't quite fit with that of a normal wild animal, like following the person for a prolonged period or showing no fear of humans. The unsettling feeling accompanying these encounters is often described as a deep, gut-wrenching sense of being watched or hunted. Another common sign of a skinwalker's presence is the sound of footsteps or voices that seem to come from nowhere. Imagine walking alone on a quiet night when suddenly you hear footsteps following you, too close for comfort. But when you turn around, no one is there. According to Navajo folklore, this is a classic sign of a skinwalker's presence. In many cases, the footsteps are described as heavy and deliberate, as though someone or something is intentionally trying to approach without being detected. Similarly, some stories include the unsettling sound of a person's voice calling out from a distance, but the voice is always just out of sight, as though it is coming from the shadows. It might sound like someone you know, but it's always a little off, distorted, or unnaturally quiet. These eerie vocalizations are considered skinwalkers attempting to trick their prey into approaching or frightening them with the false illusion of safety. One of the most chilling signs of a skinwalker's proximity is when livestock or pets start acting strange. This could involve animals being found dead under mysterious circumstances, or in some cases, pets acting nervously or refusing to leave the house. Navajo stories describe how animals, particularly livestock, can sense when a skinwalker is near. It's believed that these creatures have a way of using their powers to disrupt the natural rhythms of animals, causing them to panic, run in circles, or vanish without a trace. In some accounts, it's even said that a skinwalker can take the life force of an animal, causing it to drop dead with no visible wound, leaving only a trail of unnatural events behind. While many skinwalker stories come from the realm of legend and folklore, there are also real accounts from Navajo individuals who claim to have encountered these terrifying beings. These personal stories add an air of authenticity to the myth, making it even more chilling to hear. One such account comes from a Navajo elder who claims to have encountered a skinwalker during his youth. He recalls walking along a dirt road late at night when he saw a coyote in the distance. At first, it seemed like a normal wild animal. But as he drew closer, the coyote stood upright, its back legs straightening until it fully stood on 2 feet. The elder described the creature's eyes as glowing with an unnatural intensity, and he felt an overwhelming dread. He quickly ran away, but the memory of those eyes stayed with him for years, haunting him with the feeling that something was out there, something that wasn't quite human. Another story comes from a Navajo woman who shared her terrifying experience on a remote stretch of road. As she was driving late at night, she noticed a strange figure standing on the side of the road. The figure was humanoid but hunched over and walked unnaturally. She slowed down to get a better look, and that's when she saw the figure's face, pale, with eyes that seemed far too large for its head. In a flash, the figure darted into the darkness, and she swore she heard the faint sound of a coyote's howl in the distance. She sped off, but the unease lingered, and she never drove that road alone again. No matter how intense or varied the stories may be, they all share one thing: fear. Skinwalker encounters are almost always accompanied by a deep sense of dread, a nagging feeling that something is wrong. The idea of a skinwalker, something that can blend in with the environment, appear as a trusted animal, and prey on human weakness, instills a primal and visceral fear. Why Navajo people avoid discussing skinwalkers. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Within Navajo culture, it's considered not just inappropriate, but downright dangerous to speak openly about skinwalkers. The belief is that mentioning them can invite their attention. It's like accidentally summoning a genie, but you're dealing with something far worse than getting 3 wishes. Skinwalkers are thought to feed off fear and negativity, and simply acknowledging their existence is said to open the door to bad things happening. It's like throwing salt over your shoulder, except you're not just avoiding bad luck, but actively inviting supernatural danger. The Navajo people don't just shy away from casual conversation about skinwalkers. They avoid the topic altogether. It's not just a superstition, it's a matter of spiritual survival. Even within the Navajo community, elders and spiritual leaders warn against discussing skinwalkers too freely, for fear that their words might come back to haunt them. There's a saying that you should never speak about skinwalkers aloud, because doing so is like calling them into being. In short, discussing them openly is considered asking for trouble. So, if you're thinking of casually bringing up the topic at a family gathering, it's best to keep that thought to yourself. The taboo surrounding skinwalkers has only made them more mysterious and intriguing to people outside the Navajo community. The less the Navajo talk about them, the more curious others become. This secrecy adds to their fascination. Hollywood, in particular, has turned skinwalkers into scary creatures in movies, TV shows, and online discussions. However, the more Hollywood explores the idea, the further it moves away from the true Navajo beliefs. In reality, Skinwalker stories are deeply connected to the fears and traditions of the Navajo people. They aren't just creepy monsters for a movie scare. They represent serious fears about abusing power, losing control, and the dangers of going against cultural values. When outsiders tell stories about skinwalkers, they often simplify them into frightening creatures, ignoring the deeper meaning behind the myth. This increases the mystery, but it also spreads misunderstandings that can be harmful to the Navajo community. As a result, outsiders often turn skinwalkers into mythical creatures, missing the real cultural significance. The idea of a shapeshifter who can be anywhere easily becomes a symbol of fear of the unknown or the consequences of breaking important rules. But by keeping skinwalkers a secret, the Navajo protect the true meaning of the myth and keep it from being misused or misunderstood. Perhaps the biggest misconception about skinwalkers in pop culture is that they're simply werewolves, nighttime creatures that shift from human to animal under certain conditions. While there are surface-level similarities, like the ability to change shape and their unsettling presence, that's where the comparison ends. In traditional Navajo lore, skinwalkers don't have to change form during a full moon, and they can assume the shape of any animal they choose, whether it's a wolf, a coyote, a bear, or even an owl. The shape-shifting is part of a much darker and more complex ritual involving specific actions and a deep moral decline. In contrast, werewolves are usually portrayed as cursed individuals or victims of unfortunate conditions who might even seek redemption or struggle with their nature. Skinwalkers, however, are portrayed as entirely malevolent. No redemption in sight. Their power comes from evil choices, not a biological curse. Moreover, werewolves are often depicted as misunderstood beings with tragic stories or bloodthirsty creatures. In contrast, skinwalkers are always dangerous and evil, with the threat of being a skinwalker rooted in betrayal, corruption, and violation of sacred rules. So the next time you spot a skinwalker in a horror flick, remember, you're getting the fast food version of the myth. If we took more time to understand the real meaning behind these legends, we'd all think twice before messing with dark magic or shape-shifting into a coyote. Share your thoughts with us in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.